In 1888, the streets of London became the hunting ground of one of history's most infamous unidentified killers. For months, a shadow loomed over the East End, leaving a trail of terror that would vanish into the fog of history. Whitechapel was a place of extreme poverty and desperation, a labyrinth of dangerous alleyways where crime was a way of life. Fear spread through the city as night fell, and the gaslights offered little comfort against the encroaching darkness. The killer targeted vulnerable women living in one of the harshest districts in Victorian England. The murders began in the Autumn of Terror. The victims, later known as the Canonical Five, were found in quick succession. Mary Ann Nichols and Annie Chapman were the first. Then came the double event, Elizabeth Stride and Catherine Eddowes. The brutality of the attacks was escalating with terrifying precision. The final murder, that of Mary Jane Kelly, was the most gruesome of all, performed behind closed doors in the heart of Whitechapel. The surgical nature of the injuries led many to believe the killer possessed anatomical knowledge, perhaps a butcher or a doctor. Public panic reached a fever pitch. Every shadow became a suspect, and the newspapers fueled the hysteria. Sensationalist reporting sold thousands of copies, but it also made the police's job nearly impossible as tips flooded in. Then, the letters began arriving. One would change the face of crime forever. In a letter addressed to the Central News Office, the killer finally gave himself a name: Jack the Ripper. While many believed the letters were hoaxes, the name stuck, transforming a local killer into a national obsession. The identity of the Ripper became the greatest mystery of the 19th century, haunting the collective consciousness of London. Scotland Yard interviewed thousands of suspects. Everyone from local butchers to high-ranking aristocrats came under scrutiny. But in 1888, forensic science was in its infancy. There was no DNA, no fingerprinting, only witness statements that were often contradictory. Media interference and public pressure forced the police to take desperate measures, yet no confirmed identity was ever established. The deeper investigators searched, the more the killer seemed to disappear into the city itself, a ghost in the smog. Then, as suddenly as they began, the murders stopped. The Ripper vanished, leaving behind a legacy of fear and fascination. The murders transformed modern journalism and police work, but they also created the world's most enduring true crime legend. More than a century later, the world still does not know who walked the streets of Whitechapel at night.